This particular training video is more than likely the most important training video, audio support material in the entire Inner Game Academy. That is a huge, bold statement, especially considering how transformational so many of the different audio and videos are inside of the Academy. Before I get into the good stuff, I'm going to talk a little bit about why this is so critical. And I have a feeling you're going to be able to relate to this on at least some level. If you have been studying any of the works by Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, there are so many incredible teachers that are teaching these concepts. There are literally tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of coaches, mentors, people who are influencers all over in all different industries who are talking about the law of attraction. They are talking about the power of visualization. And even our religious teachings, whether it is the Bible or the Torah or whatever your doctrine is, these principles are woven throughout all of these different teachings. They are called secrets, and yet they're readily available, wide open. And if these secrets, if you want to call them that, if these truisms, if these universal laws and principles are in fact universal laws and principles, then why are they not more effective for more people? What I want you to understand is this universe operates in a very specific way. We can refer to those as universal laws. Some people refer to them as universal principles. Things like, as I've talked about in other videos as well, or if you haven't gone any deeper yet into the Inner Game Academy, you'll likely hear me say things like the law of gravity. It is a law. It applies to everyone, regardless of whether or not they believe it. Now, we also understand that there are sub laws that will make the law of gravity appear to not be a law, like when you see a bird flying in the air or a butterfly or an airplane. Well, it is still operating according to very specific laws. The law of vibration, subsequently, the law of attraction, is in fact a law. And while you're going to begin to understand that potentially at a deeper level than ever before, what I want to talk about here in this particular video is why simply understanding these particular laws and principles, in many cases, in and of itself, is not enough to create real substantial transformation in your life. You'll hear me talk a lot about belief. You'll hear a lot of people talk about the power of belief. Even in the Bible, they're talking about the power of belief. This is the defining moment here. When you are setting a goal, when you have a desire, we have to work ourselves up into a level of belief, pure positive expectation. That is when the magic can happen. Most people are not. So they're listening to all these incredible teachers and they are somewhat kind of half-heartedly or half-ass is more what they're doing, attempting to create without actually cultivating that pure positive belief and expectation. Now, this particular training, and the reason that I said this one is so incredibly valuable is because I am going to give you some information that I want you to really, really feel into, contemplate, meditate on it, get it so that it becomes a core understanding within you. It is going to make all the difference in the world when you feel that shift within yourself from the skeptic, the I want it, but I doubt it, the I'm so close, or I've done so much, I've come so far. Why can't I just seem to get to the other side of this? It's that internal shift. It's when you embody a knowingness of how this universe operates and that you really truly are the creator of your life. Now, there's, of course, a lot of nuances. There's so many questions that come up within us. When we see the negative things that are happening in the world around us, we begin to question, how is it possible that we're creators? How is it that as a creator, I have to witness my husband or my wife or my son or my daughter or my employees or whatever it may be doing those things that I don't want them to be doing? Well, there are a lot of nuances, and this video is not going to be about those nuances. But what I want you to remember is that the way that this universe works, again, look to any of the greatest teachers throughout history. We're talking thousands of years, okay? Not just new modern day mystical teachers or occult teachers or even religious leaders. We're talking about throughout our human history. What we imagine, when we imagine it, when we feel it, when we believe it, when we expect it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, you can argue all you want, but I want you to become aware that the things that you are seeing in your life, the things that you're regularly thinking, contemplating, you're processing what you perceive reality to be, whether it's how much money you do or do not have in your bank account, the type of relationships that you have, challenges in your life, the good things that are easy for you, the things that happen so naturally that you just expect certain areas of your life to be positive. Notice, become more aware than ever before of your beliefs about those things, your expectations about those things, how you are consistently thinking and feeling about those things. Are your thoughts positive? Are they affirming? Do you believe and expect certain positive outcomes with regard to certain things, certain negative outcomes with regard to certain things? Now, even those things that in the past you had believed were a real obstacle for you. Maybe it's weight. Maybe it is something pertaining to your health. Maybe it's financial. Maybe it's a goal or a dream that you have and you've done some visualization. Maybe you've done some hypnosis. Maybe you've done tons of EFT or other different modalities. Maybe you had it up on your vision board, or you have actively, aggressively pursued it with massive action. Whatever that may be, I want you to just consider, to contemplate, to test it really, truly, not in a half-ass way. Test it. Really, truly surrender to testing it fully and completely, and then conclude whether or not what I'm telling you is in fact law-based truth. If you can visualize, you can imagine, you can feel, close your eyes, keep them open, doesn't matter, okay? But when you can see yourself through your own eyes as though you're living it, meaning not like watching a screen, right? Sometimes we use those techniques in hypnosis to begin to create some new associations. But when we want to powerfully influence positive manifestations in our life, when we want to create something in our life, we see it through our eyes, we experience it with our senses as though it is real, just as real as you sitting where you're sitting right now, listening to me. Now, when you first are reaching for whatever that improved situation is, you're going to notice that there's a little bit of mental and emotional refining that is taking place. You're sort of feeling around within your own mind and your emotional state for something that feels like it clicks into place, something that you feel excited about, something you feel good about, something that when you identify it in your mind, when you begin to imagine as though it is your reality, it starts to feel so good, so right, so good. And as you're allowing yourself to then go into it and have more of a sensory experience, this is the power of our mind. We are creators. Look at everything that human beings have created. There is very little room for argument that we are, in fact, creators. Whether we're talking about the creation of something completely new and unknown, new innovations like the telephone or the computer, or just simply talking about the little things that we're creating in our life, those things that you were so fixated on, and you took all of these actions and you believed that the actions created the manifestation. And while those actions were a part of the manifestation unfolding, it was your belief that allowed that to become a reality in your life. And so play with this. And when I say play, I don't mean it's because we're making believe and we're being in fantasy and we're trying to create things that we don't believe are possible. The reason that I like to use the word play is because there's a lightheartedness in it. Notice that the things that you're struggling feel hard. It feels like you're really exerting a tremendous amount of effort. And that's because when you're thinking about your goal, when you're thinking about your dream, you're full of doubt and resistance. Now, as you're playfully looking in your own mind at those things that you want to create, do you want your body to look a certain way? Do you want a certain amount of money in your bank account? When I say play, I want you to do it from a lighthearted place. If it is true that you are, in fact, the creator of your life, then what do you choose to create? What do you want to create? When you are coming from a beautiful, beautiful energy, okay? Meaning, we're not talking about you win, someone else has to lose. We're not looking at the actions that it takes to get to the outcome. I want you to see in your own mind yourself having what you want. So if it is the money in the bank, okay, then go to in your own mind an experience where you are looking at your bank balance and the money is in the bank. And it feels so good and it feels so real and it's so normal and it's natural. And notice, where do you normally sit when you do that? Imagine yourself sitting in that spot, right? Feel the sensation of the chair underneath you. Notice the little noises that you typically hear when you're in your office or wherever that is. Maybe you hear your kids playing in the background. Maybe you are joyfully sharing the good news with your spouse that you had this huge deposit in your account from wherever it came from, right? Maybe it's a client or it's a new opportunity, it's a new deal. Maybe you don't even know where it came from, but you are just living in that moment as though it is real, knowing that from that place, you knew where it came from. Now, notice here that if you don't know how, meaning it doesn't seem logical to you at this point in your life. How am I going to get that large amount of money in the bank account? We don't look at how, we look at when. When you have the money, how do you feel? And feel as though it did come through a very, very logical source. An inheritance, you won the lottery, doesn't matter. We're not filling in those details, okay? You're only in your own mind feeling as though, as you're looking at that bank balance and you're seeing it and it feels so real, so right, so good, that at that point in time, you already knew it was coming. And there it is. So it's these little nuances, okay, that you're going to have to practice. You're going to play with a little bit in your mind until you get to a sense of what feels real, feels really, really real. If your mind starts to fill in details that feel off to you, you're going to feel that offness. Just do a little bit of tweaking, do that little inner bit of refinement, and discard that piece of information, okay? And get back into what does feel good to you, okay? So if your mind goes to where's the money going to come from, you've got to pull yourself out of that. You get back into that information is going to show up. Right now, I'm just in this place of feeling the joy and the excitement and the feeling of freedom, whatever that is for you, and you're getting yourself into that place. And when you click into it, you're going to notice it feels so good that you're going to enjoy being in that visualization, being there in that imaginative state. And you're going to keep bringing yourself back to that state. Okay. And maybe it's you're visualizing each morning after you wake up or in the evening as you're drifting off to sleep, those two golden periods when your subconscious mind is open and receptive. Maybe each and every day you're visualizing that same scene and you're feeling it with all of your senses. Maybe each time it's a little bit different. Maybe this time you are seeing yourself actually going and purchasing a new car and paying for it in full because you have so much money. Okay, you see what we're doing here? We're trusting ourself to begin to create in our mind circumstances in our future that are a mental, emotional, vibrational match to what we want. Now, many people have these incredible experiences where literally the words that they heard in conversation when they were imagining are words that come out of another person's mouth, or literally almost to the dollar or exactly to the dollar what they imagined or had been imagining for, in some cases, a couple of days, in some cases, weeks, sometimes months. But that exact dollar amount will be the manifestation that they experience in this real, tangible world that we are so accustomed to. For some people, it is even better than they had envisioned, but it matches the emotional, vibrational essence of what they had been working on in their visualization sessions. What I want you to start with, you can start with the big things, okay? You can start with something small, but find something that feels really, really, really good for you. Maybe it is starting really, really small if you're a skeptic, okay? And perhaps there is a way that you would prefer someone treats you. an employee, a spouse, child, whatever, okay? And use that as your sort of initial test, if you want to call it that, and just get yourself into the feeling place of them treating you better, treating you with more respect or more love or more affection or whatever it is based on what your desire is. And you imagine it and you feel it. And you do that over and over and over again. And just be mindful of when you're beginning to notice the physical evidence, the manifested evidence of that person treating you differently. So, a lot of people who consider themselves to be realists or very pragmatic can argue against this all they want. But what is so interesting is that the more someone considers themselves a skeptic, in many cases, the more jaded they are, the more they struggle in life. And how well is that actually working out for them? Not very well. And here you see so many incredible, successful people who are following these principles, whether they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally. They just happen to be the type of person who obsesses in a positive way over what they want. The athlete who imagined themselves throughout their whole childhood playing in the Super Bowl. And then there they are as an adult. And you hear these stories. Some of them are doing it unconsciously, don't even realize that they're doing it. Other people who are very successful, highly intelligent individuals are using this with intention to create incredible things. And everyone else is looking, they're saying, doesn't make sense. How did this person achieve this? Their product, their service isn't even that amazing, right? But they're embracing this understanding of how the universe operates. So many people are getting in their own way, saying, I have to see it before I believe it. And all they continue to create is what they see, what they are observing. And so they're just creating more of the same, more of the same, more of the same, more of the same, and saying, I'll believe something good could happen for me after it actually happens for me. And those people are not living a very empowered life. And so I want you to become the empowered creator in your life. And while there are many nuances to this, if all you did was get clear within yourself what you really, truly desire to experience in your life, and you visualize and imagine as though you have it with all of that emotion and all of those sensory experiences, and you really allow yourself to indulge in the beauty of being able to create in your own mind, you are going to begin to notice that you really, truly are a powerful creator in your life. And once that knowing clicks in, this is what I was talking about in the beginning, that knowing, that absolute belief that even though I don't know when this is going to happen, I know it is going to happen. That, my friends, is the missing key. And so feel your way into this so that it becomes so vivid, so real within your own mind that you just know it is going to happen. And when you get there, then you truly are a master of your mind and a master of your life.